Alright, this is Hivixter from SNKCapcom.com, and I am with Canada's finest in Third Strike, Mr. Seroid himself, and Samir. Glad to have you guys with me today. We see, well, first with Seroid, we see you putting out a lot of material for people to learn Third Strike and all the little techniques that people would normally not take into consideration, especially new characters or new players into the scene. What motivated you to do this sort of thing, and what's your source of motivation, essentially?
Honestly, there's a lot of reasons. First of all, learning the mechanics of the game are really important. You have to learn how they work, and there's enough websites you can go to, or even forums where you can read about it. But like, where can you go for someone to actually verbally teach you? There's been so many cases where I've taught people how to play. My friend Y, he's amazing at Third Strike. I taught him from scratch, and I had to teach him in person. Now, if I could teach others in person, that'd be awesome. But that's not the case. So if I could find a way to verbally tell you, thanks to things like YouTube and things like that, then I can just teach you strategies and techniques and show you videos at the same time. Also, another thing is that I'm a huge Call of Duty fan. I'm bad at the game, but I'm always watching machinima videos with Hutch, C-Nanners, and Trump, and all those machinima guys, and I've always been doing that. I've always wanted to do that, and now's my chance, right? Since the opportunity came,
right.
All I have to do is basically just grab a really cheap capture card, and then it's not all my knowledge. This is all knowledge that's passed on through me from Mannerism X, from my friend Mark Mopreme, maybe one of the California guys, like Arliath taught me a lot. And things like that. You know, just learn things every now and then. And I've always wanted to just teach people how to play, because let's be honest, I'm not good at the new games. I'm not that good at Marvel 3 and Street Fighter 4.
Right.
So I might as well take whatever I know from this one game and just pass it on to anyone else that's interested in even learning.
Right, right. So have you guys been playing the game since its inception, basically?
No, I started the game in 2000. I first touched it in 2001.
Okay.
I started playing a lot in 2002. I was really bad. I couldn't do low forward super. I couldn't do short super. That over time, I learned all that stuff.
Right. What about you, Samir? When did you start, and when did you essentially take it to the next level to compete with the best?
I started a while ago. Started around in Gameland. There was an arcade near Young and Bloor. When I first came to Canada, I still lived around the Manulife. They had an arcade there, and I went there about in late 2000, and then I didn't want to play the game at first. It was actually someone else who forced me to play the game, and then ever since then I was hooked onto it. But then since I was very young, I was 11 years old, I was still playing. For about a year I played, but then back then I didn't know anything about top tiers or anything. I just used Akuma and the Shotos. So however, I had to move out to Mississauga, and then I could not access Third Strike or anything. So I stopped playing Third Strike for about 3 years. No, I guess 4 years, because in 2005 I finally moved to downtown again, near Funland. So that's when I finally got a chance to really play, and I spent for 3 years. I used to spend at least 6 hours a day playing at the arcade. Yeah.
So you guys would both agree that there is a big learning curve for this game?
Yeah, for sure. Third Strike, yeah. I started I really started leveling up after 6-7 years. But before that, I just didn't make it anymore or anything. Plus, after also, I started improving after I learned about the tier list. Then I started improving.
Question for you, Seroid. Basically, was it sort of the perfect timing of 3SO, Third Strike Online, coming out, going alongside with you starting to come out with these videos, or is this something that you just had in the back of your mind and you were just waiting for the perfect opportunity to do it?
I don't follow the news, to be honest with you, when it comes to Street Fighter. So I didn't really have a clue. I heard rumors and stuff.
Right.
When I first started, it was actually, I think I might have known, actually. I don't remember. I really don't remember if I knew or not. I know it was around the same time where I actually started it. My first episode took me forever. It took me forever to make. I don't know how to edit still, so it took forever for me to make.
Right.
So it was good timing, but it wasn't planned at all.
And what's your opinion on them re-releasing Third Strike Online in its original form as opposed to remixing it?
That's the only way you can play Third Strike. You can't re-release a game after so many years of it not being played and balance it out. You might as well just make a new game. If you're gonna take the time to make, you might as well just add like another character in and just make like a 4th edition or something like that. You're changing the game completely.
Right.
Right. It's not the same game that people played. Like HDR came out, but the thing is, Super Turbo is still around. So HDR is kind of like an update to Super Turbo, a huge one. But Super Turbo was still being played in tournaments and at Evo and stuff like that. Third Strike's been gone for a while.
So they treated it essentially as 2 different games, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, HDR definitely is a different game.
Right.
Like T-Hawk's not as good. Dalsum's moves are backwards. For any Dalsum players, they'll understand. They're like reversed. Right.
Wow.
T-Hawk's not, because he has a whiff throw animation in HDR, things like that. Third Strike has to be the same. I don't mind it being balanced, and then they just name it a different game.
Right.
You know,
Just don't rebalance it and call it the same thing.
Call it Third Strike Balanced Edition. Then I can choose not to play it. I don't learn a new game.
Nice. I see. So, so with the release of Third Strike, with the influx of new people picking up this game, what would be your first rule of advice, especially for someone who's maybe transitioning from Street Fighter 4 into Third Strike?
Low jab is never a good attack. It's good defense for what we call crouch tech. Well, it's the same as 4, except you get a low jab when you crouch tech in Third Strike.
Right.
But you should never attack someone with a low jab, ever, with any character.
And what about your advice, Samir? What would you say the first thing that somebody would, like, if they want to start learning the fundamentals of the game, what's the first course of action that one would take? Like, they might come in with a lot of bad habits. If there was one bad habit that they should definitely remove, what would that be?
So, now that like if people are picking up the game now compared to like they were picking it up like 6-7 years ago, now it's much more advanced than what was 6-7 years ago, right? So nowadays like the tier list actually matters. My advice would be to find an easy top tier to use, because what I say is that like let's say if they pick Urian, his combos are hard to execute, right? You have to know partition, you have to know all these combos and unblockables. Rather than with the mind games and stuff, which they have to work on, right? In order to punish them using the mind games, right? That requires even more work, so they can't really focus on the mind games and understand the mechanics. So my advice would be to use an easy top tier like Chun-Li, Ken, or I found Dudley and Yang to be easy to learn because of Dudley's hitbox, but Chun-Li and Ken are really good choices.
Right.
But I'm not saying that like don't use Yan or anything like that. Learn the game mechanics with Chun-Li and Ken and some easy top tier characters.
And then work your way down.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. T12, thoughts, impressions? You guys have been to several other T-Series.
Yeah, I've been to almost all of them. I've been working some other ones, so I missed it. But
how do you feel the tournament scene is evolving with the new blood and all that? I mean, I know you don't play some of the, or you...
I still come whenever I can.
Right.
I still come whenever I can. Tournament scene in... The problem with a major tournament is that you need money to run a major.
Right.
You need money because you need the venue. And also, it's all about... It's getting very corporate, if anything. You need top players because you got to draw that crowd.
Right.
So finding all the resources to run a major tournament, it is tough.
It's
like
costly.
Neil Russell's running T12 right now, and I don't even want to know what he's thinking right now in terms of like he must be like going crazy in there. Like I can't believe he had time to play for one thing, right?
Yeah.
But the tournament scene, the way it's evolving, it's hard to say now because we're aware of how many games are coming out.
Yes, that's another big thing.
I don't know who's going to join with Ultimate Marvel 3. I don't know who's going to leave with it. I don't know how many new players that Street Fighter 2012 is going to bring in, or Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which I'm excited for.
Yeah. Yeah, you're thinking about picking that game up?
Yeah, I'll play whatever, right? I'll even make videos on it if I could, right?
Nice.
But it's hard to say. I think we'd have... I can't really give you an answer until like maybe 6 months from now, but...
I see.
We have a full house, put it that way.
Exactly.
They're not letting people in right now, for the folks at home listening.
That's, yeah, and I think that it's just a wonderful thing. Like, they got this venue assuming that there was going to be about 50% more people. They easily got at least double. So this is
We had to turn people, like they had to turn people around yesterday because they couldn't let people in. It's a fire hazard if you see
it's
the max.
truly unfortunate.
So
but
I like tethered my laptop and let a bunch of people outside watch the stream here.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Right, just so I didn't want them to leave. I told them, like, you know what, stay, watch the stream for a couple hours. I used 2 gigs of data yesterday, just letting them stream it.
Wow.
And then when people started leaving, then they were allowed in.
Right.
I just didn't want people to leave.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that's just, you know. Next time, I'm pretty sure they'll get a bigger venue and whatnot. It's just they weren't expecting this turnout. What about you, Samir? What other games do you play besides Third Strike?
This is interesting. I don't play anything else competitively, but like I don't like other games that I've tried. But like back in the day, like when I was like 8 or 9, I used to play really casually with my friends and stuff. But like games like KOF 98, the ones back home that they still play nowadays, they still play KOF 98. Some of the beat 'em up high school games, just like Final Flight, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Those are some of the games that I still know.
Nice.
But like with regards to like competitive gaming and stuff, I only know Third Strike. But however, I did try to pick up MVC2 about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was just too much for me. Like I mean, like it's like if when I thought that Yan was broken in Third Strike, when I looked at like the things that could be done in that game, I'm like, no.
Yeah, this is way too.
It's like seeing people with their assist like walking away from the game when the assist is left.
Yeah.
I was like, if it's that hopeless. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I see somebody like pausing it, starting it over again, and they still have like one character. It's like, okay.
There's no point, right?
Yeah, that's.
However, Justin Wong can. He's an exception. He will do something else there.
I would never do that.
The Cyclops comeback is what we're talking.
I would never forfeit the game if I'm down to my last character. I would always try to play it out.
Yeah.
I would try to play it out, even though I know I will lose. At least.
Right.
That's how I feel.
Even I use MSP, and if I'm stuck with Psylocke, then I'll still try to play it out.
Nice. All right. Well, this is to wrap up the interview. Do you guys have any thoughts, shout-outs, final thoughts?
Shout-outs to, I guess, Dr. Sub-Zero. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy, man. John. And also to whoever else loves Third Strike. What's the saying? Play Third Strike. It's a good game.
That's his actual saying?
I gotta say.
That's a saying out there somewhere.
Read it in a book somewhere. What about you, my friend?
I gotta say, if you want to make it far in the game, just don't have the attitude like, oh, I'm gonna play this game, I'm gonna beast up this and this, right? You might as well approach the game in a sense that like, I'm gonna train hard as much as I can, whatever I can do,
right?
And when I go to the tournament, I'm gonna give it my best. So it's like if you use that type of calm type of mentality, I think at least that for me worked, for me to go up level.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you guys both for your time. Both very, very talented players and very respectable players in the scene. For giving me this opportunity to interview you guys. I'm sure a lot of people will love hearing from you. And I look forward to seeing you guys keep blowing people up. I know Seroy just blew me up 20 games in a row in Third Strike. There's no way in heck I can beat him.
Too many low jabs with you.
I know. It's a bad habit. I'm pretty sure you were kind of indirecting that advice to me.
I told you use way too many low jabs.
I come from 4.
Yeah.
It's obvious, isn't it?
No, that wasn't directed to you, but like.
Yeah. No, I know. It's all good. It's all fun and games. All right. Well, thanks again, guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the tournament. This is Victor signing off for SNKCapcom.com.